It's torrentially raining outside, and the waters are rising. Oh no. Is it to flood? What's going to happen to your house in all these Florida wetlands? Hope you have a plan. We all know that part of Florida's charm is its low-lying wetlands. But what does that mean for home ownership? Hi, I'm Stephanie Lankowski, and I sell residential real estate with Taylor Allen Properties in Destin, Florida. The first time I bought property here in Destin, it almost fell through because I was ignorant of flood zones. Found myself in a situation where I had mandatory flood insurance, and the prices I was being quoted were not in my budget. So you guessed it, today we're talking about flood insurance. When is it mandatory? What are your options? And what is this National Flood Insurance Program all about? Here's a heads up for you. Typical homeowners insurance does not cover floods. FEMA defines a flood as having 2 or more acres of typically dry land that are covered by water or mud flow. So it's always a wise idea to have flood insurance, but sometimes it's actually required by your lender. So if you're taking out a mortgage, your lender is going to ultimately be the one that decides if you need flood insurance, if it's required before you can close on your property. They're going to use a number of tools to determine your flood risk. So they're going to use FEMA flood maps, they're going to use an elevation certificate, and they're going to use a parcel boundary document and compile this all and decide just how risky your property is. So you can almost guarantee that if your mortgage lender is backed by the federal government and your desired property is in a special flood hazard zone, you are likely going to be paying flood insurance. You're going to have to purchase it before you can close on that house, just like homeowners insurance. So there are 2 types of insurance that you can buy. You can buy private flood insurance or federally backed flood insurance. I'm going to talk just briefly about private insurance. Some of the advantages to that are you can have higher risk flood zone properties covered. You can have a higher coverage limit on your building and your personal property. Some negatives are that it will typically come with a higher premium, and because it's not backed by the federal government, they have the right to drop you whenever they want. So FEMA houses a program called the National Flood Insurance Program. This serves 23,000 communities within the United States with affordable but limited flood insurance to those areas that are a little more at risk for floods. And guess what? You got it. Destin is one of them. Let's talk a little more specifically about the National Flood Insurance Program and how it can be of benefit in your next real property purchase. The advantages are that it comes at lower premiums, it has set coverage plans, it's available to single-family residents and condos, and luckily you cannot be dropped from this program as it is backed by the federal government. Some disadvantages are that there is a 30-day waiting period for this to be activated, and a single-family residence is limited to $250,000 in building coverage and $100,000 in personal property. For most, this is going to be sufficient coverage as average claims are between $30,000 and $40,000. So if your dream property costs more than $250,000 to replace, or your insurance requires a higher number than that, you may have to subsidize the National Flood Insurance Program with a privatized insurance. Or you could also be in a situation where you just have to cover what you owe to the bank with that insurance policy. So typical cost for the National Flood Insurance Program can range from a couple $100s to a couple thousand. It all depends on your risk of your property that you're looking at buying, and it also depends on the amount of the deductible that you agree to. So if you'd like to know more about the National Flood Insurance Program, you can go to www.floodsmart.gov. Now that you have the skinny on flood insurances, I know you're wondering what flood zone your dream property is in. You can go to www.myokaloosa.com to use this navigation tool for flood maps. So in order to do some research on a property that you are looking at purchasing, you can use this resource here to find your flood zones and really a lot of information. myokaloosa.com, and this is the Okaloosa County website. If you come to home, your home button here, and then you come down to the CRS Flood Fact Elevation Certificates, click on it, and then come click on this little link here. It brings you to a map. And I would really encourage you just to play with a little bit. I found that just using a property address was not super helpful for me. And so I found that you can either go through the property tax appraiser's website, or if you enjoy playing with maps and things like this, you can literally zoom in enough here. We'll see if it'll be patient for me. And it should allow you to click on an individual parcel. And I picked this one in particular because you can come in here, copy and paste this parcel number instead of the address. Copy, let's paste it over here into this search engine, which is looking specifically for our flood zone facts. And you can see it fills out a lot of information for us. But particularly right now we're looking at this FEMA flood zone. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different flood zones in this property. And it talks about whether it's in the COBRA system or in the COBRA zone. Sorry, the answer is no. Yay, high five. But if you want to know a little bit more about these zones, which I would certainly encourage you to, it gives you a quick link if you just click on this, and it helps kind of break down the percentage of chance that FEMA gives to this particular property for flooding. So I hope you enjoy that and have some fun research. Thanks for watching this video. Now I know you'll be prepared when it comes to flood insurance and flood zones. If you're interested in more information on flood insurance, watch Jen's video on Do I Need Flood Insurance? See you next Thursday.